We're going to begin in Georgia this morning, where a judge there has blocked a new policy that would have mandated election ballots in that state be counted by hand. Judge Robert McBurney called the controversial rule passed by the election board back in September too much, too late. Thousands of poll workers would have had to unseal ballot boxes and then count them by hand to make sure that they match the machine count. This after the election. So the ruling comes as a record number of people showed up for the first day of early person voting in the state. CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion is in Marietta, Georgia, tracking developments for us there. So, Nikole, let's talk about this. Let's first talk about the reasons why Judge McBurney blocked the hand counting measure.
Yeah, well, to your point, he just said that there's not enough time to implement this, in short. So it's not that there's an issue in terms of the rationale potentially behind doing this, but there's just not enough time to get it done. So that was his main reason for blocking this controversial ruling. And then the other thing he said is that this would lead to, quote, administrative chaos. He also said that, people haven't forgotten about January 6th. That hasn't faded away, and that this potentially could do a disservice to voters by undermining confidence in the outcome of the election, which, of course, is quite critical here in Georgia because there still is a case pending here regarding alleged election interference on the part of the former president. And I would note that Judge McBurney was one of the ones who oversaw that special purpose grand jury that ultimately indicted the former president.
Yeah, it's interesting, Nikole. So the folks that are in favor of that hand ballot counting say it would have increased trust, but the judge says it would have quite the opposite effect. In fact, he referenced January 6th and said already in a past election where people were worried about election integrity, having a hand counting after the election would just lead people to believe that there was something amiss.
Well, exactly, as I just stated. And so that was, again, part of the rationale behind striking this down. I would also note that Judge McBurney also issued a ruling Tuesday that would, in essence, require local jurisdictions to certify their election results on time. Again, kind of trying to tamp down these concerns about potentially sowing doubt into the result of the election, and really using any potential mechanism to try to challenge the results. And this is all kind of stemming from some new rules that have been passed over the last several months by the state election board here in Georgia. It leans Republican, but there are several of the former president's allies on this board. He has expressed support for them, and they were among those kind of pushing for these new sets of rules. But it has raised a lot of alarms here in Georgia. There are a number of lawsuits that have been filed in the wake of several of these rules changes. In fact, we expect another court hearing today to take up some of these challenges, Vlad.
All right, Nikole, I know you'll be tracking it all for us. Thank you very much.